Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of A Woman's Prayers, brought to you by the Gutsy Woman Network in collaboration with Voice of the East, Olundiwo. In this special edition, we will be looking at women and leadership. I'm sure that we all know that in the discourse around gender, stereotypes, equity, leadership is one of the most contested aspects of the controversy. And I have with me a powerhouse to have in a one-on-one chat, conversations around women and leadership. And I'm sure that this will be as promising as the previous episodes. Stay with us. My guest today is Honorable Obiajulu Princess Ugu, who is the Deputy Chief Whip, Enugu State House of Assembly, and the Southeast Chairperson, Reserved Seats for Women's Bill Advocacy. That is a mouthful, and that's quite a substantial position. Very lovely to have you in the conversation, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
All right. I think that maybe we'll start with what people may consider the basics, in the conversation around women and leadership. The position you occupy is a significant one, and it's one that many women, would be shocked to learn that a woman is occupying. So I think that, indicates that it wasn't an easy journey getting to that. So let's start with, telling us about your involvement in the political space, your journey so far.
All right, thank you very much. The people, women especially, will be marveled to see another woman in an elective position, not just an elective position, as a principal office holder in the House. Let me just say in a short phrase that the journey has been, it's been good, it's been ugly, and it's also been swift. I don't know. It has a mix of everything, but it's something that I still look forward to being in, engaging in, because we have found out, a few of us have realized that we are where we are as women in leadership, as women in politics, because we sometimes do not want to consistently engage. So when you meet some storms, when women meet some storms, they tend to pull back. I'll give you an instance. So I started running in 2018. I'm a beneficiary of the Not Too Young to Run bill that was passed in 2015. So I was opportune to be trained by Yaga Africa in 2018 before the 2019 elections. And that was the first time I contested. I contested under United Progressive Party, UPP. And after that contest, a lot of women who I came in with all went back. They all said,
the kitchen was too hot.
And then we reduced the number of women who plunged into politics, young women especially. They all went back. But in 2022, again, I came back. And I had said one thing, that I wasn't going to run if I didn't have a sufficient amount of money. Because sometimes people will say, politics, it's not about money, it's about who you are, but let's look at Epidode, for instance. He has been running, he has maintained his tempo in the political space. He travels, he flies in and out of the country to states, all of that. He doesn't go to the airport, and because he's P2B, because he's PO, they just say, okay,
he doesn't
fly.
Pay for
yes, you're
flights,
coming to change Nigeria for us, so just go. It doesn't work. So that alone tells you that you should have a certain financial standard before going into politics. So I said I wasn't going to run. That 2023, I wasn't going to run. But if I got sponsorship, I'll run. I wasn't taken aback completely that no matter what happens, that this is not a game for women, no. I didn't see it that way, but I positioned myself, hoping, praying that something will come up. And that was what happened. Something came up, and people said, who can go into this? Who can represent us? Who can? And they looked at my antecedents of 2019, running in a party that wasn't sponsored, what I was able to do. And they said, go, let's see what you can do with it. And by God's grace, we were able to do this. So it's not been a very smooth journey. In the House, we're about 24. We have about 24 seats in the State House of Assembly, and we have just 2 women. Imagine that we do voice votes most times. And then a bill comes up for women to be having houses. Once you're married, they will give you a house as a woman. And then people are to vote. And just 2 of us
have to vote.
And we have 22 against. So you know what that means.
You don't have a chance.
So for now, I think this would have given a little bit of introduction to how it has been.
Yeah, that's a fantastic introduction, and I think it has, unpacked for us the substance of our conversation. I want to start with, what you said about the economics of politics. That's a conversation that, many people are interested in, because some people may say that that's where the inequity lies, because the financial demands of politics, for instance, is something that automatically, sidelines the women, because how many women can afford that? So how do you want to relate to that, sentiment, that opinion that because politics is, especially in Nigeria, in fact, anywhere else in the world even, is it's fundamentally a financially demanding endeavor, right? How do women who seem to have less financial, stamina in Nigeria, how do you advise that they go about entering the game?
Okay, so I don't want anyone to shy away from politics, being a woman, because you feel you don't have all the money. At your level, whatever you can do, all I can say is women need to engage. We must engage. Currently, it's about the time for Congress, and I'm happy that I've sat in my office and I had about 2-3 women come from a particular ward to say that they are contesting for councillorship. I know what I did. I said, oh, congrats, that's good. In case you don't get it, don't go back. I will ensure that we expose you to trainings that will make you gain better capacity. So even if you're not making it this time, the next time you're contesting as a better person, as a more competent woman, and then that way will grow. So what I can say to any woman out there, every woman out there actually, because we have the numbers, we have everything it takes. Engage at your level. Register in a party. Be part of what they are doing in that party. When they say they are contributing, don't mind that everybody is contributing. The big stakeholders and key holders are contributing in millions. Contribute your 5 naira. Carry your bag of water. When they are speaking, speak. Say, yes, I want to align with what Right Honorable Engineer Barrister Doctor have said. That I want to agree with it. I want to second it. That just be out there. Nothing should make you, want to step back. That's on one part. The other part that is very significant that will help women is now the reserve seat bill. Remember, we said I was the chairperson for the reserve seat bill advocacy. Yes. So now we are asking for the reserve seat bill. Why? The men have gone very far in empowerment. When we do politics, women are the ones who come out to come and do the dancing, to cast the votes. They are even the ones who sit down and make sure that the votes are counted at the end of the day. But when it comes to positions, you don't see women appointive positions. Thankfully, the governor of Enugu State tried so much, because we have about 50 women in appointive positions in this state, saying that we couldn't get enough in the elective positions. So after your involvement, continue to engage. We need to have these women if you look around me, I have a personal assistant who is a woman, who is a female. I have a secretary who is a female. It's remaining for me to have a driver who is a female too. Yes, because they enter places with me, they meet people, they are exposed, they are empowered. Before you know it, someone could say, oh, this is your PA, she's been this, can she run for this? I will sponsor. when that person is being sponsored, what does she do? Who does she bring up?
Yeah.
As you're bringing those people, giving them appointive positions, they are using those appointive positions to come in. They are also using it to get influence, to get even finances that could help them plunge into the mainstream politics. Now, to the reserve seat bill. Leave those seats for us. Because we do not have the financial muscle right now to begin to, fight it out with the men. Yeah. The men have been in the space for a very long time. Leave those seats. So if me and you, Angori, we both have 100,000 naira and we are to contest for a particular seat, it will just be me and you. And by the time we say that there is no woman to contest it, let it remain vacant. By the time we do that, over a period of time, because what the reserve seat bill is asking for is 4 years times 4, that is 16 years. Yes. Let's see what we're able to do with this if the reserve seat bill passed. Today in Abuja, they are protesting just like they protested for the other bill on electronic transmission of results. Today there is a protest on the reserve seat bills to be passed. We need it passed so that we will know that this is a contest strictly between women. By the time we do it, first term, second term, fourth term, we are very sure that we will be able to empower more women to come into the space.
Oh, fantastic! That is that's a wonderful submission, and I want us to maybe backtrack a little bit on the reserve seat bill. This is a contentious issue right now. People are interested in the prospects of the bill. But one thing that you have said is that as something that allows women, or something that is supposed to encourage more women to participate, people may be concerned that the bill in itself may sort of restrict politics to a female contest, whereas the game itself, demands that, the woman put herself in the space and fight it out to really earn it, right? So, but if it's now a contest between just you and I, right? Some people may also say that it's still pandering to that inequality, because the actual thing would be to, or what people are looking to, is to see a game or a space where women compete on a healthy level with the men, and the best person takes it. But yeah, so
okay, so let me bring this scenario. In the public tap, everybody comes to fetch water with their buckets, with their jerry cans, and that the people who can see, who can walk, will get to the tap easily. They will keep fetching. Yeah. While the blind person will need to grapple with his way or her way to the tap, and then he or she doesn't even know where to place his bucket, to get to the tap. It takes the people, so these ones who can see, who can walk, are already advantaged. It takes one of those ones to say, okay, let's pull back a little, give these ones a chance to get their own water, and then we can continue. When they have gotten water, you can now say, like some people will say, when the tap is about maybe stopping, they can say, everybody come and fight.
Come and fight.
So
fight it out.
What the reserve seat bill tends to do is what I have just explained. Some people have been there for some time.
Have the advantage.
Just allow a particular portion. It is not about the seats that are existing. Now, let me even explain what this reserve seat bill is. In total, it is not just about, some men fear that we were coming to, when I talk with my colleagues and I said, Unumakwana reserve seat bill, they will say, oh, you want to use those your friends and come and take away my seat? I say no. While I was pleading for them to support the bill, they'll be like, I'm
going to support something that will
I'm like, no, this is an extra seat. It is extra
it
at
does
the state
not
level.
jeopardize your own
Yes,
chance.
at the state level, we're going to have, instead of 24, 27 seats, because we're going to get one per senatorial zone. That's for the state level.
Yes.
Same for the House of Representatives, and then for the House, for the Senate.
Yes.
So if we give women just 3 seats extra out of 27, plus the 2 that we're holding, our voices can come up.
Yeah.
And we're not saying leave these reserved seats for forever. Let us just use it to measure up. And after 4 terms, we can review the bills to retract it or either continue with it.
That.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much for that. I think that I'm sure that provides a lot of clarity that is needed on that. Yes. But another question I would like to also ask is, when our people have this habit of wanting to undermine something just because we think it's freely earned, right? So are you also not concerned that there may be people who, when push comes to shove, will want to be like, it's something that was freely given. It wasn't exactly earned the way we struggled. So how
at this point,
you don't care.
I don't care. Let's allow ourselves to, receive that backlash, but allow us in that seat. Let it be for now. If you feel that, because you have your followers,
yes.
I think I'm meeting you for the first time.
Yes.
If we're going to be in a contest, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be just, very easy that I'll come. No, it's going to be the same contest. So let them not deceive us that they just handed it over to you. Women still have the capacity. Don't women contest for women leader? Clearly. They contest. So it's you telling me that it was just handed over to you. Let it be handed over. Thank you. Yes.
Let it be handed over.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
I think that's definitely something that those who are arguing on the contrary need to hear. Yes. But maybe wrapping up, I want us to still look at the financial requirements of contesting for the reserved seats. What does the law say about the reservation? Do the prices of the forms, are they any less than the regular seats in the assembly?
I wouldn't even buy into it being less.
Okay.
All I can say is that women should go all out. I know that there are women who are high capacity financial women. So I don't even want it to go down, because when it goes down, it becomes a kind of handing over. It becomes a kind of, you buy your form for 100,000, I buy my own for 100,000. Let it be that it is between me and you who is a woman who is contesting, but let it be the same. Okay. So I for the prizes, all I can say is women should do everything humanly possible to be financially stable too, so that the only thing can be saying is this one we're saying, but when it comes to the monetary parts, monetary aspects, you will not say you're giving a man for 1 million and you're giving me for 100. So the moment we get it at the same price, of course, we are all contesting.
Oh, definitely. I do agree with you that, having it reduced is still giving the opposition the voice to say that, oh, yes, it's something that is less than, what they are occupying. Yes. But at the same time, don't you think that if it retains, the price or the cost of, other seats, it's also exclusive in that women are still disenfranchised by virtue of that cost, And I also think that young people may want to hear someone like you in this position, speak to practical things they can do to begin to, empower themselves financially to cope in such contests.
Okay, so, remember when I started speaking, I said something about being sponsored.
Yes.
So, there are... most times when we think of fund, we only think about the money we have at hand. But there's what we call social net, social worth. So you can have the capacity to deliver, and there are people who will sponsor. But like I said again, start from what you can do. From what you can do in your community, wherever you find yourself. That is what brings you to the limelight as a young person that gets the real stakeholders who have even served and have said, oh, I failed here, I should have done it this way. This young man, this young woman is actually a material that I can support to do what I wasn't able to do. So I don't want, in as much as we want to have funds, I don't want people to, shy away because of funds. Because if you're doing something, I bet you, it's only in our client that you see people sponsor their elections. When you go to the Western world, when you see people doing well, you see their people fund their election. And when I know that Angoli and every other person here bought my ticket, I know that I am answerable to them. We need to, raise more. Of course, currently I am in the School of Politics and Governance by Advocacy. And I went into that school. When some of them see me, they'll be like, what are you doing here? And I will say, no, it's not enough. You need to keep improving. You need to keep moving with the trend, the current trend of leadership, what is happening in the country, and also network with this group of young people who are ready and willing to lead this change. And I tell you that in that community of SPPG, we have plans. I've seen them sponsor candidates. So it's not just about that doesn't mean that people should fold their hands and wait to be sponsored. Do what you can at your level. There will be a time where you will definitely be able to either break through. Maybe by the time you're breaking through, you may not even need to run by yourself. You just support someone who has a good ambition and who has capacity to also run too. So no particular thing. Before you go and say, and some of them will say, okay, we need to do some. There are a lot of things that people do now to young people, and it puts them under a lot of pressure to make unnecessary money. That sometimes I ask my children, I did not send you. Stop telling me you are depressed. I didn't send you to me. All I've asked you to do is to go to school. You will say, hey, this one did that. No. Let's not pressure them. Let's get them to have the character first. Be doing something from wherever you are. The funds will follow. And even if your personal fund doesn't follow, there must be people.
The network.
I see it in SPPG. I see people who have run, who were sponsored. And I myself, I can tell you that if I wasn't sponsored, I wouldn't be here.
That is both advice and practical evidence of what you've experienced, and I'm so happy that you shared that. Yes, but also I think people have often asked this question of funding, sponsorship, because it may also leave the impression that when when majority of your funding comes from your network or from a group or from concerned or interested person, it also jeopardizes your loyalty to the state or to the people or to your funders. So how do you also, explain to young people who are interested in participating, young women who are interested in participating, to balance their expectations, or their loyalty to those who have funded their, elections or their campaigns, and also serve the state? How should that be handled?
So our politics or our polity sometimes can be very, I don't know the right word, but it can be very combative. And for me, that shouldn't be. From the time I got into the State House of Assembly, there was an interview I had, and I said, I came in through one party. Some other persons were in another party. And when I was asked, how will you? I said, man, this is now governance. We are out of polity. All of us here are representatives of the people. All we want to do is to make laws, oversight what will favor the people. It is no longer about my party. Because if we get into the house and start talking about parties, what you will see is fights, carrying of maize, hitting of one another. And then when you're doing that, two elephants are fighting. The grass is bearing the brunt. So I sincerely do not think that if you run an open door policy, if you interact with your people, if there is any need, if there is any contention between maybe the government and the people who have funded you, it is only normal for you to have that interaction with them. After all, that's what we're all there to do in the first place. We are there to bridge the gap between the government, the executive government, and the citizens. And so it shouldn't be different when it has to do with your funders. If there are things that are conflict of interest, it's left for you, who is the middle person, to bring everybody to an equal playing ground. And how do you do that? Dialogue, communication. It may not be easy to do this, but I tell you, like, to work. I know that my transition, the stages, the phases I've gone into, they were contentious. People will say, but at the end of the day, everybody aligned, and all the people who said, no, I'm not doing again, I catch because she did this. Yeah. Everybody is falling back in line. They are seeing what you saw or what you anticipated come to play. And so they are all, falling back in line with you. It's usually not an easy thing to do, but it's something that must be done.
I want to say thank you because maybe I have some political aspirations and you've also been answering my questions, but I'm sure that, the listener is grateful for, the perspectives that you've offered. But I want to wrap up with this question, and I think it's, one of the fundamental questions in, the conversation around women and leadership. What does equity or equality look like? So, female politicians are not... they don't just, become men because they're politicians. A lot of them still have, to deal with, the peculiarities of, the domestic scene by being women. So how do you think equality, what would it look like when we're trying to level the playground politically for women to participate? Are there incentives, or do you think that both men and women should fight it out without any incentive that, caters to their peculiarities?
Let me just narrow this down to the family. So my husband is not a politician, I'm a politician, and we have children who depend on me to prep them for school, to help them with their homeworks. And my husband understands that this is my passion. And because he understands it's my passion, he is willing to help. But what makes him willing to help will be my attitude. It will be my communication. It will be how we relate on the things available to be done and how they should be done. I still do not believe that there should be any special incentive whatsoever for women to participate in politics. I don't believe that, because if we're talking about anything, let it be general. Let it be an understanding between you and your spouse, between you and your parents, between you and whosoever. That I understand that this is my passion, this is what I want to do. Okay, how do we work this? How do we do these things so that it works? There should be an agreement. The moment we begin to do, say for instance, the woman sees her period. And every day she has to see her period, that means she's the Speaker of the House. She will not come for sitting. Imagine what that will mean. So, but we can find a way, but make it a law and people will abuse it.
Oh wow. Absolutely. I think I agree. I agree because if incentives provide convenience, people will want to, let go of that. So thank you so much, Honorable Princess Obiajulu Ugu. I know that growing up, I remember, I think 2019 elections, I think I knew of, your involvement, especially with the not so young to run. So it's a pleasure, sharing the space with you in this conversation. And I hope that, the answers, the dialogue have shed a lot of light on first, the prominent, topical issue of reserved seats bill, and to the young woman listening, who wants to go into politics or is interested in, just observing the space, that you've taken much away from this session. It's been a pleasure, and I hope that in subsequent conversations we will continue to have enriching dialogues. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Anguli. It's been a very interesting conversation with you. Thank you for having me.
I appreciate it. Thank you, and bye for now.